6:45. This is the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. The news edited by Danushka Madawala, read by Sounditavam. The President emphasises the need to decentralise all public services at district and divisional level. The Minister of Agriculture reiterates that there will not be a rice shortage in the future. New laws to be introduced to prevent hoarding of food. A methodology of licensing for ethanol imports discussed in COPA. In foreign news, the Chinese president reaffirms support for Russia's security concerns. And in sports, the second ODI between Sri Lanka and Australia will be played today in Kandy. President Gotabaya Rajapaksa said that there is a timely need to decentralise all public services at district and divisional levels similar to the work-from-home concept. The Department of Registration of Persons, the Department of Immigration and Emigration, the Department of Motor Traffic and other state institutions can be further decentralised at the district and divisional levels in order to provide their respective services more efficiently, the President's Media Division said. The President pointed out the importance of linking such key institutions to each other. The President made these comments at a discussion held at the President's house in Colombo yesterday on agriculture, food security, introduction of new methods to make public services more efficient, the decentralisation of all public services at district and divisional levels, and the management of government expenditure. The Minister of Agriculture, Mahinda Amaraveera, reiterated that there will not be a rice shortage in the future as the massive cultivation drive in Sri Lanka is actively in progress. There will not be a shortage as enough stocks of rice is available till December this year. The FAO has come forward to provide 363,000 packets of urea fertilizer free to the farmers who engage in cultivation in the Maha season. Meanwhile, the paddy cultivation of the Yala season has already commenced in Mullaitivu, Vavuniya and the Kilinochchi districts. This news broadcast comes to you from the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe says the government will introduce new laws in the future to prevent the hoarding of rice mill owners and large-scale paddy storage owners. He made these comments at a meeting with the representatives of state and commercial banks and the officers of the Central Bank and the Treasury. The Premier directed the officials to offer loans in keeping with the government's monetary policy. Further, he gave directives to the Central Bank and the Treasury officials to monitor the lending policies. The Committee on Public Accounts recently drew special attention to the quality of ethanol imported for use in Sri Lanka and the lack of proper regulation of importing institutions. The Import and Export Control Department officials were instructed to submit a report to the committee within 2 weeks, containing the procedure for issuing licenses for the importation of ethanol into the country by various companies. The committee also noted the lack of a standardized computer system to carry out the activities of the Department of Import and Export Control. Furthermore, the committee inquired into the issuance of licenses for the importation of vehicles and spare parts to Sri Lanka. Although it had previously instructed to take necessary steps to formulate a proper procedure in coordination with the Department of Motor Traffic, the committee expressed its displeasure that no action had been taken in this regard. In addition, it was further requested that a suitable methodology be prepared to maintain the relevant activities in a more efficient and transparent manner and submit to the committee within a period of 4 months. That concludes local news.
The main news story is brought to you by Siddhalepa Vedamahatmya.
The UNFPA, with the support of the Government of China, has provided essential medical equipment and supplies to adequately equip public health staff who have been actively working at grassroots level. 328,660 packs of supplies worth $800,000 were handed over to the Family Health Bureau through the Ministry of Health yesterday. The initiative aims to ensure frontline health workers in Sri Lanka have adequate means to safely respond to patients during public health emergencies and came to you in the main news story.
The main news story was brought to you by Siddhalepa Vedamahatmya.
On to Watchlight, the fees for evaluating answer scripts will be revised. The Department of Examinations said it has decided to revise the fees that need to be paid for the evaluation of answer scripts. The Commissioner General of Examinations, LMD Dharmasena, said the decision was taken by taking into account the prevailing fuel and transport difficulties. The demands put forward during a discussion with the Education Minister and trade unions have also been considered and came to you in Watchlight. On to a bulletin of world news making headlines this morning. Chinese President reaffirms support for Russia's security concerns. Dr. Fauci, renowned pandemic advisor, tests positive for COVID. And tiny tree frog found in bananas 4,000 miles from home. Chinese President Xi Jinping reaffirmed his country's support for Moscow on issues of sovereignty and security in a phone call with Russian leader Vladimir Putin. Xi told Putin yesterday that all parties should responsibly push for a proper settlement of the Ukraine crisis. The Kremlin said in its account of the call that Putin outlined his fundamental assessments of the situation in Ukraine. Xi noted the legitimacy of the actions taken by Russia to protect the fundamental national interests in the face of challenges to its security created by external forces. China has not criticized Russia's invasion of Ukraine and has not referred to it in such terms, while accusing NATO and the West of provoking Moscow into attacking. Dr. Anthony Fauci, the US scientist who became the country's most visible symbol of the fight against COVID-19, tested positive for the virus. He is continuing to work from home as he recovers from mild symptoms. Dr. Fauci, aged 81, who serves as chief medical advisor to President Joe Biden, tested positive during a rapid antigen test. The National Institutes of Health said Fauci, who is vaccinated and double boosted, had not been in recent contact with Biden. A tiny tree frog has been found in a bag of bananas more than 4,000 miles from its Dominican Republic home. A shopper discovered the amphibian when unpacking fruit he bought from a local supermarket in Sheen, South London. Philip Norman of the RSPCA was called to the 1.2-inch frog, which had been wrapped up in a bag for some time. It had an injured leg and was taken to the Heathrow Animal Reception Centre. Mr. Norman said, "Quote, it can be difficult to identify species of frog, but it's believed to be a Hispaniolan common frog or a Dominican tree frog," unquote. And to end this bulletin of world news, a recap of the headlines. The Chinese president reaffirmed support for Russia's security concerns. Dr. Fauci, renowned pandemic advisor, tests positive for COVID. And tiny tree frog found in bananas 4,000 miles from home. That concludes this bulletin of world news, and we take a look at development news. The Minister of Trade, Commerce and Food Security, Nalin Fernando, has held discussions with the Ambassador of Thailand with the hope of obtaining essential commodities and food items for Sri Lanka. Minister Fernando said, although Sri Lanka has adequate rice for the Yalla season, he expects Thailand to assist in meeting the country's demand for rice during the Maha season. The minister also sought the assistance of the ambassador to secure essential grain, wheat flour, pharmaceuticals, raw materials and fertilizer for the agriculture industry, and came to you in development news.
Sports News is brought to you by
Sampath Bank. We present your future.
The second ODI between Sri Lanka and Australia will be played today. The match will be played as a day and night game at the Pallekele International Cricket Stadium. Australia won the T20 series in the first ODI match as well. That came to you in sports news. We'll look at business news next.
Cash through NSP globally and win wonderful gifts locally. From October 1st, 2021 to December 31st, 2022. Remit a minimum of $100 or an equivalent amount in any foreign currency 3 times through NSB U Trust.
Business News, sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
The Pakistani Finance Ministry yesterday announced that the federal government has decided to raise the price of petrol by another 24 rupees per litre, the third such raise within the last 20 days. The new prices will come into effect at midnight tonight, the minister said, while addressing a press conference in Islamabad. That's business news. Economic news up next.
Business News, sponsored by
Cash through NSP globally and win wonderful gifts locally. Will you be the lucky winner of the NSP Golden Jubilee? 50 gold sovereigns for the top prize winner of the NSP Golden Jubilee. Scooters for the 10 second prize winners. iPhones for the 10 third prize winners. Mountain bikes for the 29 fourth prize winners. From October 1st, 2021 to December 31st, 2022. Remit a minimum of $100 or an equivalent amount in any foreign currency 3 times through NSB U Trust.
Economic news. courtesy of...
Saving money isn't easy when you have responsibility. That's why we promise to give you the best returns and guarantee on your investment. LOLC Finance Fixed Deposits. Maximize your savings. LOLC Finance PLC, incorporated on the 13th of December 2001, is rated SLA stable by ICRA Lanka Limited and is licensed by the Monetary Board of the Central Bank of Sri Lanka under the Finance Business Act number 42 of 2011.
The US Central Bank has announced its biggest interest rise in nearly 30 years as it ramps up its fight to rein in soaring consumer prices. The Federal Reserve said it would increase its key interest rate by 0.75 of a percentage point to a range of 1.5% to 1.75%. The rise, the third since March, comes after inflation in the US surged unexpectedly last month. More hikes are expected, adding to the uncertainty facing the economy. And that's economic news.
LOLC Finance is taking the power of innovation to the next level, winning 5 golds at the Technovation Awards 2022, leading the digital revolution with cutting-edge interbanking digital payments. LOLC Finance claims the overall gold award, whilst also claiming an extraordinary victory in digital banking. LOLC Finance will continue to innovate with the next generation digitalization of financial services, delivering a superior customer experience.
On to the weather report. The showery conditions over the southwestern part of the island is expected to slightly enhance during the next few days. Showers or thundershowers will occur at times in the western and Sabragamo provinces and in the Galle and Martara districts. Fairly heavy showers, about 50 millimeters, can be expected at some places in these areas. Several spells of showers will occur in the northwestern province. Showers or thundershowers will occur at several places in the northern, north-central, eastern, central and Uva provinces during the afternoon or night. Fairly heavy showers above 50 millimeters can be expected at some places in these areas. To conclude this bulletin of news, a recap of the headlines. The President emphasizes the need to decentralize all public services at district and divisional level. The Minister of Agriculture reiterates that there will not be a rice shortage in the future. New laws to be introduced to prevent hoarding of food. A methodology of licensing for ethanol import discussed in COPA. The Chinese president reaffirms support for Russia's security concerns. And the second ODI between Sri Lanka and Australia will be played today in Kandy. That concludes this morning's news broadcast.